everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. It was, without a doubt, a good day not just for fans of The Young and the Restless, but of soap operas in general when CBS announced that the show had been renewed. And it wasn't given 1, or even 2 more years, but a whopping 4-year renewal. As excited as we were for the news, we figured it would be the perfect time to hear what you, the viewers, are hoping to see happen. So we popped over to our Facebook page and asked folks, if you were in charge, what would be your first big move? And boy, did you answer? You can head over to our Facebook post if you want to see the hundreds of replies. And we'd expect no less from viewers who love their show and want to see The Young and the Restless be the very best it can be. There were, though, a few replies we thought we'd tackle below, starting with Phyllis. If that tease alone was enough to get a reaction, don't worry, you aren't alone. To say that fans are getting up with Phyllis would be, perhaps, the understatement of the year. That would get her out of this Danny and Christine mess, though it wouldn't necessarily make him look any better, and put one of the most popular couples back together. Of course, she'd have to get him away from Diane first, and we all know how much that backfired on her the first time around, and the second and third. So maybe, after this obsession over Danny, Phyllis might want to just take a breather for a bit and focus on herself. Still though, while fan Cassie Curtis didn't necessarily need a romantic reunion, she would like to see Jack and Phyllis go back to a friendship, and for him to apologize for flipping out at Red. Plus, she added, put Ashley and Tucker back together for good. And that takes us right into another of the big issues. There was definitely a contingent of fans who weren't having it with Ashley's problems and her split from Tucker. A number just wanted her to move on and find someone else, and as Wendy Kabatinsky said, Ashley had a breakdown years ago. Really don't want to see that again. With that said, it looks like we're deep in Did territory, with an alter personality doing her best to ruin Tucker and Audra. So while it does give us an out down the line for Tucker to forgive her and Ashley to reunite with him, that may be a little while. And her mental health problems look to be here to stay. It's not just repairing relationships or rebuilding lost ones that fans want. They also need to make sure the existing couples continue to grow, and that's especially true with Adam and Sally. Now that they're finally back on track, a number of folks like Anne-Marie Gauthier and Carol Sees are hoping wedding bells will soon be ringing. Adam marries Sally, love you two together, and they aren't alone, as Mark Grossman himself said that he'd like to see that marriage finally come to fruition. Charles Felsberg wants the show to start bringing on the new gen kids, which is a sentiment that Jay's Gaming Corner echoed. Bring on the next generation, Noah, Moses, Reed, he wrote, and add exciting elements to the storytelling like crime or a disaster. Shake this show up. We haven't seen any of those characters in a while, though we think Noah's still kicking around somewhere in Genoa City, or is he still in London, Paris? And at this point, younger folks like Maddie, Charlie, and Reed have grown past the teen stages to young adulthood. It wasn't that long ago that we had them on the teen scene, and they could be the perfect additions to bring the young 20-something crowd back to life and kickstart the next generation of stories. As for that last bit about exciting elements, though, we suppose it brings us to what we call the nuclear option, disaster. Have a good disaster, Mary Sprezel-Nichols suggested. Building fire tornado, where everyone comes together and works with each other. And hey, that is a daytime staple. Whenever things need a bit of shaking up, a disaster or two does the trick. Whether it's been smaller scale like the Winters family plane crash or the underground fire, or larger scale like the Clear Springs collapse, Young and Restless knows how to handle disasters. Maybe something big like that again would form new connections we never saw and create new relationships that click better than we could have ever imagined. Julia Atwell, however, took a much harder line. Have a massive event that kills numerous characters, Not superfluous ones, but main, important ones. Then start again with new storylines and characters who live in the real world and the 21st century. It would be a bit like the mini reboot in the early days when the show switched from a half hour to an hour, and the Brooks and Foster families were phased out for families like the Newmans and Abbotts. But that was still relatively early in the show's history.